Live, alternate.
Yeah, I know you love it.
Still living it.
Fanani.
Not for much longer.
Neighbours.
After, what, 4
Soap.
days?
Endgame. TV.
9,000
DJ.
episodes.
2022.
But the final credits set to roll on Neighbours this Friday.
Try not to cry.
It's nearly over.
Among the former stars returning to Ramsay Street for the final episode are Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan. Let's take a look.
It certainly feels like the end of an era. It all goes so quickly.
Always does.
Seeing him again, it was like no time had passed at all.
Yeah, there's lots of old faces floating about. Do you think Ray still loves me?
Your story, my story. I wanted a reason to come back.
The street is not going to be the same without you.
This is going to be a great new start.
Where are you moving to?
I don't really know.
We might be leaving the street, but we're always going to be in each other's lives.
Always.
Always.
You okay?
Always for 4 more days and then no more. That's the trailer. It's just been released this morning. TV critic Scott Bryan joins us now. Good morning to you. You're smiling,
Good
but
morning.
I know you have a tear in your eye.
Date today is the 24th,
I'm
25th of July,
This is a
2022.
soap, of course, we've been watching for years. It's
40
part
years.
of the TV furniture. So, of course, to hear the news that is going to be ending is a really sad one. But everyone's now trying to work out how is it going to end. And I was asking on Twitter for some responses. Some of the responses I got were too dark to mention on daytime TV. But so recommendations. Someone said it's a figuration of Bounce of the Dog. One of the dog's dreams. Somebody also said maybe something like Truman Show-ish, like all of the characters realise that they're in a soap. Perhaps that could be a way to end it. Or it could be Susan waking up in hospital after, of course, the infamous storyline where she slipped on milk, banged her head and thought that she was a teenager. The trailer that we've just seen suggests it's going to be that the fact that they all move away from Ramsay Street. It'll be interesting to see how it all wraps up.
I love all of those ideas. Scott, so we've played that trailer this morning. That's just been released. Does it give us any clues, any hints, though, about what might be coming?
Well, I think it's certainly an opportunity for characters, some of them very much iconic, to return and then say goodbye. And then I think what we've been hinted there is that some people are leaving, some people are seeking to find closure. So there's Izzy Hoyland, played by Natalie Bathingthwaite. She's been returning in recent weeks. Now, her sort of storylines are quite complicated, but she infamously gave birth on the River Thames during Carl and Susan's remarriage, which bizarrely, of all people, Neil Morrissey officiated the wedding about 2 decades ago. She's returning, trying to go and, I think, put things right. And I think Susan is quite upset about this. So that's wrapping up as well. We've also got the return of Margot Robbie, who played Donna. Of course, she's gone on to have so much success in Hollywood. Delta Goodrem too, Guy Pearce. So I think it's a bit strange because there's a bit of melancholy, isn't there, having a lot of these iconic characters, as well as, of course, Harold, who went missing and then had amnesia, and then returned back in this show in the 90s. There's a bit of melancholy because they're all returning, which is a very celebratory thing, but also we all know that it's with this idea that it's all going to end on Friday. But how are you going to try to wrap everything up by then? It seems to be a bit open-ended, but I guess that will get the people in to be watching it on Friday.
That's the irony, isn't it? That after years of maybe struggling at times, all of a sudden you get this final episode, which is going to be a blockbuster in terms of audiences. They must wish they'd done this a bit earlier, maybe, and stuck with it.
Well, I mean, this is the interesting thing because, of course, so many Neighbours fans have been saying there's still a lot of interest. It's been one of the most successful Channel 5 shows in recent weeks, very much high up on the overnight ratings and on people catching up too. I mean, Channel 5 are saying that the reason why they're not renewing the contract, and that subsequently led to the show's ending, is simply because they want to invest more in prime-time audiences. And I think there's also a bit of confusion because some people are saying, well, would it be great if a streaming service brought it up or another broadcaster? But I think the challenge is that essentially streaming services such as Netflix tend to go for very expensive dramas, the very high-end ones, but also very limited. So if it doesn't work right away for them, they get to cancel it. The issue with a soap is that although each individual episode is quite cheap, if you think about it, you've got a large cast, you've got a permanent crew, you're also making this at the other side of the world where a lot of its audiences now these days are based in the UK. So, and the fact that you have to renew it for years at a time. So it can end up being really quite expensive. So unfortunately, I sort of feel that if Neighbours was going to be cancelled 5 years later, it might have been picked up by another broadcaster. It just feels to be that in the weird transitionary period of TV that we're in, Neighbours unfortunately just fell through the cracks.
And Scott, have you heard any whispers about the ending? Have you heard that they might even just leave a tiny, weeny bit of a door open?
I mean, wouldn't that be lovely? I mean, there's a lot of expectation about Scott and Charlene returning, of course, Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue. There's been some things about some of the last sentences that they will say, maybe that they will only make a small cameo rather than throughout the whole episode. There's been a lot of people following how much time they were actually on the set and how many scenes that we'll be able to go and make. I think we all won't really know until we watch it on Friday. But yes, I think everyone's going to have their fan theories until then, but that will make Channel 5 all the more happier. I'd love there to be some sort of bouncer's dream sequence involved in this. I think that'd be a delightful way to end the show and would fit Neighbours, I think, in its history. That's been exactly what Neighbours has been always about.
Well, it wasn't mentioned in this trailer we've seen this morning, but I don't want to put any spoilers out there, but I've seen some report of a ghost. Have you seen about this?
No! What?
I love the way Scott just laughs at that idea.
I don't want to ruin it,
ghost.
especially not for
How
Scott.
about that,
It
guys?
matters a lot to Scott. But yeah, there is a rumour that a long dead Neighbours character comes back from the dead as a ghost in the final episode.
One of my favourite ever episodes was when Dee, who tragically died during a wedding with Toadie, she came back as a character, only for it to be found out that it was actually a lookalike of Dee who was trying to steal somebody's identity. And the real Dee came back and had a showdown with fake Dee, and you couldn't tell which one was the real Dee. I mean, that is, for me, iconic peak Neighbours, and that is what is so going to be missed by so many people.
Oh, Scott, honestly, you have made it all make perfect sense for me this morning. I love that. I love all the theories. Scott, thank you.
Only appropriate we should have a Scott when we're talking about Neighbours, isn't it? It's 8:59, you're watching
You
breakfast.
love it.
So if you like this video, please a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel on Sun Gems and the 4 speed which you always put in press about. The needs and many outweigh the needs of you. Subscribe to me on Sun Gems. That's the end. Game of Neighbours. No more Neighbours. That's ending this week. Thanks for watching. Please a thumbs up and subscribe to me on Sun Gems. Take care. Bye everyone.